Hello YouTube, this is ShadowHero90 and allow me to welcome you to my show, Sexism in Movies and TV. Now there are 3 reasons as to why I do this show. The first is because as someone who watches TV, and as a man, I really do think I should be able to watch an actual American show without constantly being offended, and without feminism being crammed into everything. The second reason is that a lot of these shows are geared towards a younger audience, and it would really be good if anyone from Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon saw this and actually tried to make a decent role model for boys who's not a white knight, a complete sissy, a doormat, or basically someone who is worthy of the title hero. You know, to keep them from turning out like these pricks. Doormats and losers like these chumps. And my third reason for doing this show is because, I'll just say it, they're aimed towards children. And kids are very impressionable. If you put the wrong stuff in a show for kids, it's gonna send a lot of really messed up messages. Like convincing a boy that basically trying to have anything that's meant to be his is somehow a crime, or wanting time to himself is somehow a crime, or basically a little girl being convinced that she can assault neighborhood boys, younger brothers, and any little kid or male who's weaker than her, and that there will be no consequences. In fact, a lot of these shows do teach girls that they can do whatever they want and consequences do not apply to them. So, with that being said, feel free to enjoy the review. Hello YouTube, this is ShadowHero90, and in this episode, I'll be tackling the movie Reanimated. Now, people say this is the movie that murdered Cartoon Network, but that's beside the point. Although this is a parody of Walt Disney, and normally I'd be for that sort of thing based on how much I hate Disney, well, this movie contains a lot of the sexism, and by that I mean misandry, that would only come from something made in 2006. Case in point, first shot of the movie is essentially Jimmy's moron father eating sugary cereal, watching cartoons, being gross, stupid, and overall a bad father. One question comes to mind. Why does this character even exist? Couldn't Jimmy's mom be like a widower or divorced or something? But that's beside the point. This came out in 2006, a time where apparently Hollywood just hated men for no reason. Okay, and in our first scene, Jimmy comes in needing to get to school to talk because he wants to talk to Robin, the girl he likes, and instantly his retarded father basically acts like a little kid and whines and complains as if this were some sort of goddamn role reversal. Why does this character have to exist, I ask again? He's so immature, stupid. There is nothing redeemable about this character. Okay, and on to the mother, who's an astronaut. Okay, the only reason that she's an astronaut is 1, plot, and 2, they need that so that Jimmy's sister, Yancy, can be an alien. Which I really don't see why that has to be. But then again, 2006. Now, if you're gonna make both the parents morons, why couldn't they have just made them like Mr. and Mrs. Turner from the Fairly Odd Parents, who are equally stupid and dysfunctional? Okay, Jimmy is about to talk to Robin, but then all of a sudden his idiot father, who's apparently the school counselor, calls him into his office to ask him how it went, completely ruining it, even though a normal parent would wait till after school for something like this. Then he just acts like a stupid, annoying dad character. Okay, and then the circus clown of Reanimated tries pulling off the typical practice date thing with his son by drawing a face on his stomach and talking, which is, I know this scene is supposed to be obnoxious, annoying, awkward, and basically hell for Jimmy. But to add insult to injury, he actually left a door open, and people can see what he's doing, and they are laughing at this situation, which is going to make this kid's life even more miserable, because people would probably make fun of him for this. Even though that's the kind of thing that would happen off camera, and I'm probably nitpicking, but I'm pretty sure you get my point. Okay, and after that, Jimmy is basically with Craig, I think his name is, and Robin at their house, and he gets nervous and accidentally eats a piece of wax fruit. I understand that, yeah, young boys are usually, well, nervous around the girls they have crushes on, but this is just fucking overkill. Especially since in the scene where Jimmy inherits the studio after having Milt Appleday's brain put in him, he actually does it again. He eats a piece of wax fruit, even though he knows it's wax. Originally, he did it because his crush and love interest was there and he was nervous. In this scene, she's not only not here, but Jimmy has no reason to be nervous. Like I said before, there's one, doing something stupid because you're nervous, and then on the other, well, you get what I'm saying. There's one writing up a scene where a character's nervous, and then there's fucking overkill. Which that's what this scene is, of making Jimmy out to be an idiot who apparently just likes eating wax fruit. But yeah, it's overkill. 'Cause in this scene where Jimmy inherits Appleday Studio, because the board of directors thinks he's a better candidate for president than Sonny Appleday, Jimmy eats a wax apple after, and I do mean after, he asked the gentleman standing behind him if it was wax or not. Okay, and later in the film, after going through what someone could easily call a psychotic breakdown, or a nervous breakdown in layman's terms, Jimmy's numbskull excuse for a father walks in and thinks he was spring cleaning, even though spring is months away. I really gotta say, this guy has a horrible portrayal. And Nickelodeon did the idiot portrayal a lot better with Mr. Turner, because his wife is an idiot too. Okay, now this is the scene where Sonny Appleday tries to con his way into Jimmy's house to steal Jimmy's brain. Yeah, and even though the retard father knows that this guy was trying to deceive them, he actually wants to rent a room to him, because this guy put in a little bit of effort. He just bought a fake for sale sign, and apparently this moron thinks that a little effort is a lot of effort. Then he admits that Jimmy and Yancey could use a good father figure. It's almost as if he's self-aware that he's a terrible dad. He rents a room to a total stranger when he had no intention of renting a room, and is almost self-aware of this guy's plan. This is not only a horrible portrayal, but yeah, this guy's a real moron. And I'm pretty sure that he's self-aware that he sucks as a dad. Okay, then later, during the dinner scene, Sonny Appleday scratches his cheek with his fork, which apparently plays into the all men are disgusting stereotype. Okay, now this is the scene where, well, you know, Jimmy inherits Appleday Studios, and ironically the gentleman standing behind him, who only makes one appearance in the entire movie, is literally a better father figure than the actual father, or Sonny Appleday. Maybe the retard father should have rented a room to this guy, the board of directors. And now that I think about it, in an alternate draft for Reanimated, it would make more sense for this guy to be Jimmy's father. It would make more sense for this guy, who's on the board of directors at Appleday Studios, to be the father rather than the idiot school counselor, because if that were the case, then it would explain how a school was able to get a trip to essentially a theme park run by Appleday Studios. It would make more sense. Now, this is a later scene in the movie where the mother, who's an astronaut, is essentially asking her adopted alien daughter to watch the son and the grown man they rented a room out to watch them and essentially babysit them and the father for a couple of days. And then they show him playing in some plastic playhouse, which is basically the all men are immature idiots trope. Another sexist stereotype made up by Hollywood, which was bad before 2006, but in this movie it's taken to a whole new level, to the point where it's completely unrealistic and insulting. And a few scenes later, when Jimmy is giving his autograph after becoming popular, his immature father, who, yes, this is still on the all men are immature idiots stereotype, is basically in the crowd wanting his son's autograph, even though he lives with this 12, 13-year-old boy. And this is yet another example of 2006 anti-man, anti-boy sexism. This guy is such a retard. Okay, and now we've reached the climax of the movie, where, well, basically, at this point, you'd think that the idiot father would actually put everything together that's gone on, with the whole Sonny Appleday trying to steal Jimmy's brain thing. But nope, this retard and poor excuse for a human being, and an overall insult to men in general, thinks that Sonny Appleday is his wife in disguise. He even rips off Sonny's mustache because he thinks that it's his wife in disguise because he's so goddamn stupid. Sonny screams at like a little girl, which falls into the all men are sissies stereotype. And the stereotype, well, or at least the ending and the stereotype in it, is made even worse when it's actually being... we, as an audience, are being set up to think that this retard is actually going to do something useful and figure out what's going on. And for all of you bozos, and for all of the pinheads who are going to call the ending to Reanimated sexist, I'll be eventually doing an episode of Sexism in Movies and TV where I cover the spin-off show Out of Jimmy's Head. And believe me, that reeked of the most horrific and vile 2006 styled sexism.